My name is Megan Corinne, and welcome to my channel where we talk about everything manifesting, emotional intelligence, and spirituality. So, today's video, we are going to talk about 10 commonly accepted and sometimes praised personality traits that are actually signs of low self-esteem. So, low self-esteem is subjective, right? Like, we can know that we're really good in one area of our lives, but then secretly be miserable in another part. So if you feel like you are stuck anywhere in your life, then here is an opportunity for you to further explore the roots of the emotions that you may be feeling. Number one I have is people pleasing. Now, people who are people pleasers are typically very agreeable. They're, pleasant to be around. However, it is not healthy to consistently put someone else's needs above your own. Many times that when we are doing that, and I speak from a place of understanding because I am a recovering people pleaser, but when you are doing that, you are seeking validation, outside validation, and you're doing these acts in an attempt to keep people close. But the thing is that those people are remaining close, but every time you do something that you don't want to do, you're putting yourself further and further away from your true self. People pleasing can also look like having a fear of saying no, having a fear of setting those hardcore boundaries because you are afraid that you'll be disliked. People pleasers actually have a very, very deep fear of rejection. And so a lot of the actions to people please come from trying to avoid the potential rejection. Number two on my list is perfectionism. So, perfectionism is typically looked at as a positive because perfectionists are normally high achieving individuals. They are excelling in different areas of their life. But ultimately, humans aren't perfect. And so, a person that is constantly striving for perfection, has a very deep rooted fear of failure. They have based a lot of their value in what they can produce. And if you have placed your value in what you can produce, then what is that core belief? That core belief probably sounds something like, I'm not good enough. So, perfectionism is a personality trait that is often praised. However, it is a sign of low self-esteem. Number three on my list is humility or self-deprecation. So this is going to be that person that is afraid to acknowledge their achievements, a person that is not afraid to be vulnerable and admit their weaknesses. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, that person is relatable, and they're going to gravitate towards them. However, if a person is unable to acknowledge the areas that they're doing well, without a self-deprecating thought, then that is a sign of low self-esteem. So a perfect example of this could be a person that, let's say, lost 50 pounds and you're congratulating them on losing 50 pounds and they say, well, yeah, but it took me a year. And it's like, that's not the point. You lost 50 pounds. So that's where you have that person where, yeah, they're willing to highlight their weaknesses, but they do it in such a manner that they try to overshadow their achievements. So number four on my list is avoiding conflict. So people who avoid conflict are typically praised because they're easy to be around, they're enjoyable, agreeable, but this can be a sign of low self-esteem because, you have people who don't want to rock the boat too much. However, in not rocking the boat, you're not standing for anything. You're avoiding the potential rejection or the potential for someone to not like you. So, people who avoid conflict, which also, by the way, those who try to avoid conflict at all costs, is usually because they don't know how to argue productively, but that's another subject. But those who avoid conflict, this could also be a sign of low self-esteem. Number five is constant busyness. So, this personality trait is praised because this is the person who just gets it done. They are getter doners. They are the getter doners of the world. I had a friend that actually told me that the other day, and it's kind of stuck with me a little bit. But yes, this is praised because these are the people who get up and they make it happen. But this can be a sign of low self-esteem because typically these type of people, they have their worth wrapped up in how much they can produce. And this is something I've kind of just touched on. They're not used to just sitting still and just feeling like they are worthy just because. It always has to be because they are doing something, they are producing something, they are giving something. So the constant busyness, the scattered energy is another sign of low self-esteem. Six, extreme independence. So this can be a catchy one because it's prided upon simply because a person who is able to do for themselves, especially in Western world, are the ones that we look up to. You know, we even make songs about how independent a person can be, you know, but at the end of the day, when you have too much independence, it can be a sign of low self-esteem just simply because there's a fear of trust that is wrapped in that. Sometimes those who have extreme independence, it is rooted in the idea that people can't be trusted, that they can only do for themselves. And so in return, they learn how to do everything for themselves. So independence, while it can be a good thing when it is to an extreme, it can potentially be a sign of low self-esteem. Number seven, excessive agreeability. So we love being around these people because they will never rock the boat. They are just going to go along with whatever is whatever. But the thing is that this is a sign of low self-esteem because there is a fear of rejection. We know the saying, a person who stands for nothing will fall for everything. This excessive agreeability, even when it contradicts your emotions, is just simply because there is that fear of rejection, that fear of it potentially turning into a confrontation. But the longer you continue to suppress your feelings out of lack of trust for yourself, the further and further away from yourself you move. Number eight, over apologizing. So this is seen as a good quality because people who apologize are seen as emotionally aware people, potentially empathetic people. But this could potentially be a sign of low self-esteem because when a person is consistently apologizing, sometimes, you know, those people where they apologize for something that's not even their fault, there is a core wound of guilt, you know, that they are carrying around where, although from the outside, the situation may not call for an apology, because there is an inherent feeling of guilt, the person is consistently over apologizing. Number nine is excessive kindness or generosity. So I know that this is walking a fine line because we love generous people and kind people. But the operative word here is excessive. So, excessive kindness or generosity is going to look like those who give and give to the detriment of themselves because they're seeking that outside, that external validation, you know, they need for people to like them. This could very much look like that friend that goes to the bar and insists on buying everyone around when you know this friend it always has problems paying their bills. So this is the person that is just giving and giving, and there is just zero lack of boundary for themselves as far as what is tolerable and what's not. And number 10 on my list of commonly accepted personality traits that are actually signs of low self-esteem is being overly reserved or strong. Now, I am notorious for this. Amongst all of my friends and family, I am known as the strong one. But the thing is that the strong one has an issue with vulnerability. At some point, the strong one learned that either A, when they are vulnerable, no one is going to be there to help them, or B, vulnerability is equal to being weak. And so they move through life consistently believing that they just have to remain strong. The best way to overcome being the strong one, the strong friend, is to allow people to show up for you. It is to not be afraid to ask for help. And healing some of my own woundings around me needing to always be in control and be strong was me learning how to ask for help. You know, people don't like to ask for help, and there is just so much power in allowing someone to see where you fall short and allowing another human to show up for you. When it comes to self-esteem, the best thing that you can do for yourself is to have a certain level of emotional intelligence, being aware of the feelings that you are feeling within your body, challenging those limiting beliefs. You know, everything that we think in our head is not true. And the way that we can get to that is by doing the self work. If any of the points that I mentioned in this video resonate with you, and you are ready to take that journey into the shadow side of yourself and heal from your low self-esteem and limiting beliefs, then please check the description box below. I have the link to my course, The Great Reset, Turning Pain into Peace. And this is where we take the deep dive into those subconscious cycles that are keeping you stuck. And if you are looking for something a little more lighter, then I also have the link below to my 31 days of self-love, the heartfelt shift challenge, where I have a different activity that you can do every single day to help you incorporate self-love. And each activity not only focuses on the whole giving for you, but also extending that giving outwardly as well. That is all I have for you all today. Once again, my name is Megan, and until next time, I will see you later.